Okay, so let's go ahead and start with some introductions. Here's the Columbia Housing team that will be part of this presentation, and also Catherine from Rollo, and she will introduce herself in a second as well, which has been very helpful throughout this process with the student perspective. I will start. I'm Lorena Prosco, and I oversee the assignments and conference team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer Manghese, and I oversee the Hartley Hospitality Desk.
Hi, everyone. My name is Menli Mansu. I'm the Director of Operations and Systems for Columbia Housing.
Hi, everybody. My name is Charlie Tatis. I'm the Assistant Director of Housing, and I oversee also assignments and conference.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frances, and I am the manager for assignments.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mia. I'm a manager for assignments, also working with conference housing over the summer.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm the director of the Residence Hall Leadership Organization, or ROLO.
Great, thank you guys. And Adrian, yes, I just saw you too come in. It's just a picture, but yes, Adrian is also here from Rollo. We have some RAs that should be here too, hopefully, and they will be joining us, if not in a few minutes, which we will create some breakout rooms later on so you can speak to them about their building experience. Okay, so let's just go over the agenda. So we're gonna go and discuss what is room selection, just a high level overview. We're gonna talk about the planning for room selection, what point values are, and lottery numbers. A lot of this information you already know, but it would be good to just have a quick refresher. Then we're gonna go into how to register for room selection, the participation options that you will have, the strategies, which are the most important, I think, as a junior, and the process timeline. And then we will review some of the frequently asked questions that we have received through Rollo, and some of the Q&A time that we will designate at the end of the presentation to any other additional questions that you may have. Also, we're looking to have some breakout rooms. So as we did last week for the information session, we had 3 breakout rooms. One was with the RAs, so they can talk about the community building and the experience within each of the buildings, mainly the ones where juniors will be living next year. And we will also have a Rollo breakout room where you can always find information about the student perspective on how to form groups, what the strategies, what kind of conversations you can have with your peers, and how to go through room selection. And then we will have a housing breakout room as well, where you can ask any additional questions that you may have about the process of room selection. Alrighty, so let's get started.
Okay, so what is room selection? So many of you have been through room selection before, but for those of you who are new to the process, it is the annual process for rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors with guaranteed housing. And that is when you're able to select your room for the upcoming academic year. So you actually are able to select the room that you want to live in for next year. So now's a great time to start planning for room selection. And what you want to do first is head over to the housing portal, and you want to go to the page that says verify individual eligibility and confirm standing. On that page, you're going to see your individual point value, if you're room selection eligible, and your housing status. You want to confirm that all of that information is correct. If it's not correct, please send an email to housing@columbia.edu so we can take a look at that for you. Next, you want to start thinking about your living preferences and the living situation that's best for your lifestyle. And so questions you want to start asking yourself are, does it make sense for me to live in a single? Should I be living in a double? Do I want apartment style living? Do I want suite style living? Is the location of the building important to me? And one way to get really better acquainted with the buildings that are available is by heading to the Residence Hall directory on our website. You are able to select buildings that you can filter out buildings that juniors have been able to select during room selection before. And then you can head to the building pages, and there you'll find information like what amenities are available in that building. There are floor plans on the pages. There's information about what type of restrooms there are, and there are pictures of what a typical room in that building looks like. Then you want to mark your calendar. So make sure that you're aware of when registration for room selection takes place and when you will be able to select your room during room selection. The calendar is available on our website, so you can add it to your own calendar from there. And your RAs will have received these calendars as well and posted on your floors.
Awesome. Now it's my turn to talk about point values and lottery numbers. These are two really important concepts that all of you should be familiar with, will need to be familiar with. One you'll be more familiar with than the other. So we'll talk about point values first. Point values are assigned by class standing. So the higher your seniority, the higher your point value will be, and that correlates to a lower lottery number. The lower your lottery number, it just means you pick first. So in this case, you are not going to get a 10 because you all are not rising sophomores, as I saw in the chat, you're rising juniors. So second time through room selection for most people, you're going to get a 20. So not the biggest lines on campus, but not at the start of the process either. So moving on to the next slide. So once you have your point value, that'll tell you the range in which your lottery number will exist at, as was displayed on the previous slide, and also is displayed by the former Rolo members down here at the bottom. The lottery numbers are randomly generated within the range that your point value assigns to you. If you go in as an individual or if you go in as a group, you'll get a point value. And if it's all juniors in your group, then you'll get a 20, and then you'll get the numbers that fall within the range for juniors. One really important note for juniors, you all have been on campus for a while, you've made friends in other classes. You may want to live with them. That is an option for you. Not so many people do that because you will get a mixed point value for your group. The mixed point values fall between the classes. So something really important for you all to consider, but just wanted to point that out for you.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the room selection registration. And how do you do that? As you did last year, you will have to log into the housing portal and register for room selection. You will follow the first few pages that has your personal details and your dining preferences. It is important to check and make sure that all the information is up to date, especially your emergency contact. Make sure the information is updated in that section as well. After these few pages, you will go into the room selection eligibility page where you will see if you're eligible for room selection. Next, you will indicate if you are participating in room selection or if you're deciding to not participate in room selection. Both are very important points for you to pick. So if you're participating, you will choose if you're going into as an individual or if you're forming a group. Or if you're deciding to not participate, you will then need to indicate if you will be studying abroad, taking a leave, or maybe you would be living in Barnard. So you would just have to let us know what is your plan for next year. Now, if you will be forming a group, or if you will be part of a group, then you will be prompted into the group formation page. Here is where the group leader will, after everyone in the group has registered, the group leader will be able to form the group. It's always very interesting to see the names that the groups come up with. It's just a fun slide to just go through the names. Very creative. Through the presentation, through the pages of the portal, then you will get to the statement of intent. Now, this page is the most important one of all. If you do not check the little box that says, I agree to the statement of intent of residents, you will not complete this registration. Once you check the box and you click save and continue, you will be taken to the page that says you've been registered. We need to know what your intentions are for next year. So if you have not finished up to this page, we will continue contacting you until we receive the information. It's very important to know who will be participating in room selection for next year. And everyone must register their status through the statement of intent step. Now, the participation options. Again, you have the option to participate as an individual or as a group. You have a variety of options as a junior. You definitely have more options available to you, and you can pick between singles, doubles, or suites.
We have to skip this one.
Hmm.
This is the, no worries, I have the other one here.
Excuse us for 1 second.
You want me to share my screen?
If you don't mind, please.
Yeah, I have it up. Give me 1 second. Okay. There we go. Okay, let me just. Just let me know when to go and I will follow
Got it,
along.
got it. Next one, please. Okay, so now let's talk about some group formations and the options that you will have. So you can have a groups of 2 to 10 members, and each group needs to have a leader. The leader is the most important person of the group because they will be in charge and they have the biggest responsibility. They are in charge of choosing the room or suites or spaces that you will occupy next year, and they will assign you each person. The leader will assign each person of the group into a room or bed. So the leader is very important if you are part of a group. Additionally, just again, wants to remind you that everyone in the group has to register, and then the group leader will be able to form the group and have you join the group through the housing portal. Next, Manley. Thank you. So now let's look at an example of a group of 8. So for example, you have a variety of options. The larger the group, the better, by the way. You will have more options. So in a group of 8, you can choose. Here, for example, this group decided to have a 4-person suite, a double, and 2 singles. Other options could be, for example, a 2 4-person suites, or it could be 4 doubles or 8 singles. So there's many options, and the larger the group, the more options you will have.
Cool. Now we get to talk about selection strategies and some data. This is why we had to make sure we have the right one up for you guys, because the numbers changed, and these numbers are based on the juniors from 2021. So really important things for you all to know as rising juniors. You have pretty great options. Grouping up may be to your benefit because, as Lorena just stated, you'll have more options available for you in terms of how you can decide if you want to live based on what's available at the time you select. Some important highlights I thought you all would want to know. In 2021, 29% of all room selection participants were juniors. That was the smallest class that year. That's important. That means more seniors register for room selection to participate, and obviously a lot more sophomores, which affects, what's going to be available when you pick. So keep that in mind, that your decisions at the time, but rather your options, are based on what the seniors do, how many seniors participate, and a couple other variables. 4 was a pretty fantastic number for juniors. It was actually the average group size. So there were 175 groups in 2021, averaging the size of 4. 4 was also the median group size, but the most popular group size was 2. 1 in 3 juniors selected into a double, so about 33%. 99% of those people, basically 100, were in groups. So if you're in a group, you're probably, and you want to live with a friend, you found somebody you want to live with, here's your opportunity to do that. This is just a high level facts and figures for you all in terms of being juniors. Again, that 29% number was really important because that is just something that really dictated what was available around the time you all selected. 63% of juniors went into singles, 33% went into doubles. Another 4% did not select for whatever reason. Some of the really popular buildings for juniors, Broadway, 18% of that class went into Broadway, 14% in East Campus, Ween, Shapiro, and Watt and Ruggles were both tied at 10. So you guys have really good options. So it's a good year to be a junior. Something that's really important. You all have made friendships, probably left a couple friendships, decided what's important for you. Communication is going to be key if you do decide that you want to go into a group and live with folks, because when it's time for you to select, you have chosen, your reach kind of room, your safety room, and the room that you think you'll probably get based on some of the numbers and the way things fall year in, year out, because you all are doing your research and doing that planning. If something pops up that's really enticing, it's great to have had the discussion ahead of time to say, okay, if this option is available, we need to split up the group and someone's going to need to get a single. We really want, in our group of 8, we really want this 47 Claremont suite that has 7 rooms in it, or only 7 people can go. One person has to get the single. It's great to have had that discussion ahead of time, if that is going to be your reality. So it's just really important to communicate and to talk about these things in advance. It's important to follow along live with room selection. So it'll obviously be posted and you'll be able to see what's available at the time you pick. One thing that's really, really important is not to wait. Your number will become less valuable the longer you wait. And I'll do a quick callback when I talked about how basically 99% of the folks who went into doubles were in groups. It was one person that selected into a half full double. And the only way to do that is if you really wait and allow even the sophomores to start picking before you. So don't be that person. Plan in advance and use your time when it's time for you to select. So these are some of the steps you'll see during selection. This is going to be really important for the people who are picking for themselves, which if you all go in as individuals or if you go in as a group, your leader will be doing this. You'll see your selection time on the portal. You'll review your available options because you'll be following along. You'll select the building you want, select the rooms, and you'll be selecting, if you are the leader, you'll be selecting for everyone. You'll be booking those rooms for your group, and just make sure you're booking people for the spaces that you all agreed upon in advance when you had that conversation. The group leader assigns a specific room to each group member. You confirm the selection, you review the fire safety plan information because we want to make sure everyone's safe. And then you complete your occupancy agreement, which is when you sign off that you'll be living with Columbia Housing for the upcoming academic year. Last but not least, some really important dates to keep in mind for you all. February 21st, which is coming up very soon through March 4th. That's the time to register for room selection. As has been stated before, everyone needs to register. Whether you're going to be living with us or not, you do need to communicate that information to us. March 22nd, you will see your lottery numbers posted to the portal. March 24th, your appointment times will be posted so you know exactly when you're picking based off of those lottery numbers. March 28th through April 29th, we go live, and that's when the room selection activity starts and all the fun is had. And then for sophomores, you all don't have to worry about this this year. Last year, we know this was the reality for some folks who had to experience it, but they go to a sophomore wait list if one is needed. This isn't important for you all. You will not be on a wait list.
So now we want to go over some of the questions that we received in advance regarding room selection. So how can I find information about each building's bathroom style, in-room flooring, communal spaces, and other amenities? As I spoke about earlier, definitely visit the building pages on our website. There you'll be able to find all that information. You can also join the breakout room after the presentation and speak to students who have lived in some of the buildings that you will potentially be living in yourselves. Are websites like Spectator and Blog useful for estimating which rooms I am eligible for with my lottery number? We'll leave that up to you. If you would like to use Spectator and Blog as a resource, you can certainly do that. But hopefully after this presentation, you'll also have a better idea of the buildings that juniors have been able to pick into for previous room selections. Does group size have an impact on selection times? So group size does not impact selection times. The group point value will be determined by an average of the individual point values for your group, and then a random number generator will give you a lottery number, and lower lottery numbers are able to select earlier in the process. What happens if one of the people in our group only will be on campus for one semester? If you have someone in your group who is only going to be on campus for one semester, Then when they vacate that space, you're able to pull in someone else that you would like to pull in to live in that vacant space, or potentially someone else will be assigned to that room. What if I pick into a building and I don't like the space I have? Well, we definitely say give it a try, give it some time, get to know the community in that building, get to know the area that the building is located, really spend some time there. If after you have been living there for some time and you feel like it's really not going to be a good fit for you, you can certainly reach out to your RA or residence hall director and discuss options with them. And how can I learn about a particular room in a building or about the building's overall vibe? Again, if you're able to join one of our breakout rooms after this presentation, either the Rolo or the RA breakout rooms, there will be students in the breakout rooms who can speak to a building's overall vibe and more information about their personal experiences living in that res hall.
Okay, we can go through some of the important days again. The registration is from February 21st to March 4th. These dates are posted on our calendar on our website, or also on the calendars that RAs received earlier this month. Thank you. We will open it up for a few questions now, if there's anything that you guys would like to talk about in general, and then we'll spend a few minutes here and then we can go into the breakout rooms. Let us know if you have any questions. I'm sensing everyone wants to go into the breakout rooms. So I think we'll make that decision. I hopefully there, oh, great, Elizabeth, I see a hand.
I don't know if we can hear Elizabeth. I saw that Elizabeth unmuted, but couldn't hear anything.
Oh, maybe the question.
Mic isn't working.
Do you want to type it up? Okay, so let's just start with, if someone leaves in fall and comes back in spring, what happens to their housing? Francis?
Okay, so if you are not going to be here in the fall, because you are going to study abroad, that means that you will not participate in room selection. Someone else will have to be in that group. I guess, is that what you mean, Elia? Okay, so I'll assume that that is what you mean, that if someone, you're in a group and someone is going to study abroad for the fall and is coming back for the spring, what you can do is if you can check if that person that's going to take your place is going abroad in the spring, then when that person leaves, you can go to that room. If not, you can also speak to that person to see if the room that you will receive in the spring, then you guys can swap. But typically, if you are not going to be in the fall, you will not be choosing a room.
And that's also if you take, if you do not lose your guaranteed status, correct, Francis? Because if you choose not to participate in room selection for the fall, then you will lose your guaranteed status.
If you move off campus, you lose your guaranteed status. If you are in a medical or in a medical leave for the fall and you're coming back in the spring, also you will not be participating. You will not get a room in the fall, but you will be assigned in the spring.
Okay, so let's go. Any other question?
I see
Yeah.
the breakout one. How do housing group breakup work? And the number, do the people who leave the group get relative to the group number? The breakup works as if you have a group of 8, what that means is that you can choose different types of suite. You can choose like a 5 person suite, and the other 3 can be in 3 singles. That's what breakup means, because as soon as you have a group, it will have one lottery number and they will all choose at the same time. So the group leader will decide if you have a group of 5, you can all go into a suite of 5, or if you want to go 2 people in in a 2-person apartment, 2 people in Woodbridge and 1 person in Broadway, you can do that. So it's only one lottery number, so it won't change.
So the next question is, if we have a suite, does our group have to fill up all available beds in the suite? That is a yes. You must fill all the beds in the suite.
Gabriel said, is it possible to get a housing group of singles for rising juniors? And what are the odds for a group of 5? They're very good. And you can, as a junior, you will be able to get 5 singles if that's what you want nearby, most likely, or in the same building, or at least on the same floor. And usually juniors with low lottery numbers are also able to get 5-person suites in EC.
Okay. So, I think the last one that I see, does traveling abroad in the spring affect room selection?
No, because you will choose a room now for the fall, and when you leave for to study abroad in the spring, if you are in a suite, the suite can pull another student into your space, and if you are in a single, well, it goes back to housing.
But also, I think the question also might refer to if you decide to go next spring to study abroad, will you be able to participate in room selection as a rising senior? And the answer is yes. You still guaranteed housing, and you will be able to participate in room selection as a rising senior. Okay, great questions. So let's see if we can break out into rooms and see if there's any other questions that you may have for the different groups. Okay. Can everyone see the breakout rooms, or they're not coming up for you?
I
I
can
see
see
them.
them. Let me see what this does.
Oh, Maggie said can't see it.
Let me try that again. All participants have been invited to join. Here we go.
Oh, I got it. I just gotta allow participants to choose. Okay, it might work now. Let's see. Can folks choose now? Okay, cool.
There we go.
Where should I go? With Rolo again?
Do you and Jen want to switch as last week from
Oh, where'd you go, Jen? You went to RAs?
Yeah, I was on RA.
Okay, I'll head to that one.
It seems like everyone's going into the housing one. Let's see.
That they are not eligible.
Okay, so all of that comes up during the actual registration period, and that's not today. Okay, thank you.
Correct. Okay, you're welcome. Hey, you had a question about a group size?
Yes, hi. Is it okay if I ask like a group size specific question?
Yeah, if you think it's generally enough to help everyone.
Awesome.
not a
Okay,
problem.
so I know that typically with juniors having been on campus for a few years, there's generally groups that get to size like an 8-person group. So I did see on the slideshow that you said 14% of juniors end up in East Campus. And I guess I was under the impression that a lot of seniors took that. I just had a question about if I'm in a group of 8, what are the odds, for example, that worst comes to worst, one of the top options is like a Ruggles 8-person suite. What are the odds of my 8-person group being able to get into Ruggles? And then since 14% of juniors end up in East Campus, are there any potential solutions that we should come up with, like if we get a good lottery number, like basically under what circumstances do juniors end up in EC? Because I know EC is suites of 6 or something like that. So basically, like what are the odds of Ruggles for a group of 8, and what are some other options for a group of 8?
Okay, so actually EC, the majority of the suites are 5. That's the number that we have the most. So as we tell everyone, it's good to have a large number, 8 to 10, and then you can decide to divide yourselves. Because if you have, let's say you have a low lottery number and you're able to go to EC, the suite that most likely you would be able to get into would be 3 singles and a double. And then what you have to have your plan is that if you have a low lottery number, that you are able to get, if your group is 8, a suite of 5, then you have to decide which are those 5 students that are going to go into that suite, and who's going to go in the doubles, and who's going in the singles. And then the other 3, where do they want to live? Do they want to live in Broadway or Shapiro, or what are their options? And Ruggles is a very soft junior seniors building. So you have good options, you know, you have good probability. And it all depends, as Manly said, it depends on the students that chose before you. So every year we can say what happened in the past, but every year will be different. Does that make sense? Or? So yes, NEC, you can go to the floor plans and you can see we have suites that are, let's say, five rooms for 5 students, and you have 3 singles, you have a double, and then there's a kitchen and a bathroom, and you share that. In EC flat is 2 singles, a kitchen and a bathroom. You also have the townhouses, and they have different sizes and different types of rooms. But they all share a kitchen and a bathroom. The only floor that does not have a kitchen and a bathroom is the 6th floor, that it only has doubles with a private bathroom.
Also, to jump on back of what Francis just said, the building pages where you can find all the information about the buildings you're interested in, they've been updated with some of the numbers from last year. So you will be able to see how a building broke down in terms of like what percentage of the building was juniors, what percentage was seniors, what percentage were in mixed groups. So you'll be able to get a sense of how people selected in the previous room selection. And of course, that all is variable and depends on how many people participate and how people select. So take it with that precautionary grain of salt. Are there no more questions? Should we start asking you all questions now?
Hey Manli, if I'm really confused about room selection, are there any video resources on the website that might help break it down for me?
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Katie, not communications person, student you are. Yes, there are resources on the housing website. You can go right onto the website and see all of the videos to talk about how room selection works. They will also give you some tips on how to have those conversations we talked about, some strategies for going in and picking. One of the things that I love to suggest all the time for selection is sports analogies. So you think about professional sports teams and how they have to do a draft. You don't know who's going to pick what player ahead of you. So you have to have a list of options and you just kind of make your matrix. You know, this single would be really great, but if we can't all get the singles near each other that we want, maybe we get this suite. The suite's a little bit far away, but it's near this library. So you have, you know, options. So you can use your time efficiently because you planned ahead, and you do not sort of devalue your lottery number by waiting and changing your mind while the clock is running. Great question, Katie, Miss Student Person. So we got the 1 minute warning up. All the breakout rooms will close in 55 seconds. So there's a button to leave the breakout room, or if you want to ask a question, see. So we had one really good question, just to finish that up. Someone asked, does the position of group leader have any significance once room selection is done? It's in name only for the most part, but if you do not sort of have that conversation ahead of time and agree to execute the plan as you strategize with your group members, that person who holds that position is significant because your friends will come after you and probably ask you questions like, hey, what happened? So just keep that in mind. Wow, I think that might be it. If no one else has any questions, we will give you your 14 minutes back because we know it's it's spring semester. You guys are ready to get out of here. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask us now. If not, we will call it a night. And you can find all of these resources on the housing website. Information about how classes select in previous years, just for your general benefit, and videos about how to go through room selection are also available on our website. So last chance to ask any questions. I see no hands. I see no comments in the chat box. Thank you all so much. You all have a wonderful night. Thanks for keeping us on time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.